Hi and hello everyone. So welcome to another fantastic 5 MCQ session. And myself Dr. Bharat. Let us start with the first MCQ. Which of the following is a potassium channel opener? Options are A. Nicorandil, B. Propranolol, C. Amiodarone, and D. Verapamil. So you have 5 seconds time to answer this. Yes, if your answer is Nicorandil, then you are right. Nicorandil. Remember, the name ends with dil, so it is used for dil, heart condition. Which heart condition it is used for? It is used to manage angina pectoris. Which angina? Both stable and variant angina it is used, Nicorandil. Now it's a potassium channel opener. Now what happens if you open a potassium channel? In a cell, if you open a potassium channel, the potassium exits. And you know, if a potassium exits, the cell becomes more and more negative, hyperpolarized. Suppose this is a vascular smooth muscle, that is a blood vessel. What happens to vascular smooth muscle? They become hyperpolarized, so this will lead to vasodilation. So Nicorandil is a vasodilator by opening potassium channel. What about the other drugs? Propranolol is a beta blocker. Is it selective or non-selective beta blocker? It is a non-selective beta blocker, blocking both beta 1 and beta 2. And anything ending with lol is a beta blocker. Amiodarone, very famous antiarrhythmic. It belongs to class 3 antiarrhythmics. But please understand, it's a potassium channel blocker, not a opener, blocker. Very, very important point. Verapamil belongs to calcium channel blockers. So remember, verapamil and one more diltiazem. These two belongs to calcium channel blockers and they are called as non-dihydropyridines. Then what are the dihydropyridines which are called as CCBs? Dihydropyridines, they end with the dipin. What are the dipins? Can you tell me? Amlodipin, nifedipin, nitrandipin, like that. So the right answer is A, Nicorandil. So what are the other things we have to revise? Let us see. So most of your exam question will be based on, tell me the potassium channel openers. In anti-anginal drug, I just told you the drug name is Nicorandil. In antihypertensives, there are 3 drugs which are potassium channel openers. The mnemonic is MDH, MDH ka masala. M stands for minoxidil, which is used to manage androgenic alopecia. D stands for diazoxide, which is used to manage insulinoma. And H stands for hydralazine. So hydralazine has multiple mechanisms and one of the mechanism is potassium channel opener. Now can you tell me a beta blocker which is a potassium channel opener? The name is called tilisolol. Tilisolol, it's an opener of potassium channel. Again the confusion arises, which are the drugs which are potassium channel blockers? I told you antiarrhythmics will do that. What are the class of antiarrhythmic? Class 3. The antiarrhythmic class 3 example I gave you is amiodarone. Then you have ibutylide, dofetilide, dronedarone. Then one more class of antiarrhythmics which also block potassium are class 1A drugs. They are basically sodium channel blockers, but they also block potassium channel, and they are quinidine, disopyramide, and procainamide. So quinidine, disopyramide, procainamide. Now tell me, if an antiarrhythmic blocks potassium channels in the heart, what is the problem? They can cause QT prolongation. And diabetic drugs which can block potassium, that is ATP sensitive potassium channel, they are sulfonylureas. They start with glimepiride, gliclazide, and meglitinides. They end with glenide, rapaglinide, nataglinide. So this is how they test for potassium channel openers and closers. So my question to you all is, can you tell me a beta blocker which is going to cause potassium channel blockade? So please give your answer in comment section. I will also comment later. Moving on to the second MCQ. Dose of ulipristal for emergency contraception is. So usually they don't ask the doses, but sometimes they will ask this type of questions. If you are daily dispensing these drugs, obviously you will know the dose. So the dose is 30 milligram. The dose of ulipristal is 30 milligram. And most of the emergency contraception or postcoital pill, they are given up to 72 hours. 72 hours. For example, Levonorgestrel, then the combined OCPs, and the mifepristone. So these are the emergency contraceptive drugs which can be given up to 72 hours. But ulipristal is a selective progesterone receptor modulator. Which can be given up to 5 days. That is approximately less than 120 hours. So the answer is C, 30 milligram. So what you have to answer is, if a patient comes for emergency contraception after 5 days, then what modality is available for us? Will their drug work, or we should put some device? Please answer that. Moving on to the next MCQ, the third MCQ. Which of the following is advantage of cis atracurium over atracurium? Cis atracurium over atracurium. So please understand, any drug ending with curium or curonium, these are skeletal muscle relaxants. So we call them as peripherally acting skeletal muscle relaxant. So they are competitive blockers of acetylcholine. They act on NM receptor and block that NM receptor. So before we answer this question, I want to give you some basics. Now, what is the difference between curium and curonium drugs? Now, both are NM blockers. Both block NM. Now, curium drugs can cause histamine release. They can cause histamine release. Less chance of histamine release in curonium. And the ganglionic block is also less with curonium and more with curium. So that's why nowadays what we prefer is curonium drugs, because of less histamine release and less ganglionic blockade. Examples of curonium, if you want, pancuronium, V-curonium, rho-curonium, like that. So the question is not asking about this. The question is asking about difference between cis atracurium and atracurium. Cis atracurium, both are same only. So atracurium derivative is cis atracurium. So atracurium, I told you, curium drugs, they can cause histamine release. So histamine release can cause allergy and hypertension. So here, this will cause less histamine release or no histamine release. Second, atracurium undergoes half months elimination. Half months. Here also it undergoes half months elimination. So is it safe in liver and kidney disease? Safe in liver and kidney disease, yes. But this is also safe in liver and kidney disease. Atracurium, it will undergo some metabolism in the liver and produce a ladanosin. It's a metabolite, and this metabolite can cause CNS toxicity, and that can lead to seizures. And this is not seen with cis atracurium. So that is the reason why cis atracurium is preferred nowadays. If you want to give a safe muscle relaxant in liver and kidney disease, no histamine release, it undergoes half months elimination, and no CNS toxicity. What about the duration of action? Duration of action of both are same. Now you tell me, as a clinician, which one will you prefer? Obviously you prefer cis atracurium. With that background, this question was framed. Cis atracurium causes less histamine release. Yes, it's a true statement. Cis atracurium can be given renal and liver disease. Both can be given. Cis atracurium undergoes half months elimination. Yes. Cis atracurium is longer acting. No. So they are asking not true or false. They are asking the advantage of cis atracurium. The advantage is it causes less histamine release, but atracurium causes more. Both can be given in liver and kidney disease. Both undergoes half months elimination. and both are same duration of action, so the answer will be A. The answer will be A. So please go through this curium, curonium. Now, how do you reverse this? How do you reverse this muscle relaxant? One drug, I will tell you how we reverse it. We use a drug by the name neostigmine. Now tell me a recently approved drug which starts with S, which can reverse two muscle relaxant, rocuronium and vicuronium, which is frequently tested in your exams. Which will rapidly reverse this muscle relaxant. The name starts with S. Can you tell me the answer? Yes. Coming to the next MCQ, which of the following drug is a direct NA inhibitor? Direct NA inhibitor. So please understand direct NA. The names end with hexaban. Any drug's name ending with hexaban, rivaroxaban, apixaban, metrixaban, edoxaban, they are all direct NA inhibitors. Any drug naming ending with rudin, these are parenteral direct thrombin inhibitor. So any drug ending with rudin, lepirudin, desirudin, like that. But there is another drug which doesn't end like that. The name is called argatroban. Dabigatran is also direct thrombin inhibitor, but the drug is given oral. And please remember, anything ending with parin, they are all heparin-like drugs. So let me tell you some important things about this heparins, unfractioned heparin, low molecular weight heparin, and fondaparinux. Low molecular weight heparin, for example, enoxaparin, it also ends with parin. Are they directly acting? No. Any of this heparin, they activate something called antithrombin 3, and that will inhibit factor 2A and 10A equally. Factor 2A and 10A equally, that is unfractioned heparin. For low molecular weight heparin, they also activate antithrombin 3, and that will inhibit 10A more than 2A. Fondaparinux, it will also activate antithrombin 3 that inhibits only 10A only. So all these heparin group are indirectly acting, and they activate antithrombin 3, which will inhibit this. So I hope you understood the mechanisms. So the answer for this question repeatedly asked is rivaroxaban. Now what you want to tell me in the end of the video is what are NOACs and give the examples for NOACs. What are NOACs and give examples for NOACs. Coming to the MCQ, last one. Early chemotherapy induced nausea and vomiting, treatment used is. So this is called CANV. Early means within 24 hours. What is the drug used? Metoclopramide, domperidone, promethazine, granisetron. Early CANV, the drug of choice will be cetron, which are 5-HT3 antagonist. Metoclopramide is a D2 blocker. It can cross blood-brain barrier and can lead to acute dystonia. Or ocular erytherosis. Domperidone is also D2 blocker. It doesn't cross blood-brain barrier, so no chance of acute dystonia. Promethazine is an antihistamine. It's an antihistamine which can be used to manage motion sickness. Now coming on to the drug of choice for early CANV, it is 5-HT3 antagonist. They end with cetron. Late, they are neurokinin 1 antagonist. They end with pitant. Best combination is 5-HT3 blockers, cetron with pitant plus steroid. The steroid name is dexamethasone. Now coming to the next one, antiemetic causing dystonia is metoclopramide. Which antiemetic is used in HIV patient having anorexia, loss of appetite? So this you have to answer. So with that, we are done with the first, fantastic 5 questions. So if you have any doubt, you can log into this Telegram and ask your questions, or follow at Instagram ID here. So hope you are enjoying the session. Please put a like button on. Subscribe to the channel for further updates. So any feedback, please give it to me, and accordingly we'll continue the series. Thank you all.